I believe that karma is real. You may never even realize what's happening, but you cannot keep crapping on people in your nice little way. It may not visit you, it may visit your grandchild. Hi, welcome to this edition of Real Talk with TAS OnJerya. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. It's hard to believe that we are already in the second week of January, which is really the second week of the year. How quickly time goes. Hi, Neil Tahal 3. Thank you so much for joining us. I didn't think I was going to get Angelia in the live. Jeez. I think she thinks it's still the holiday season, and so she's just going to keep sipping on the eggnog and maybe, what else you doing besides sipping on the eggnog?
Probably eat me some more ribs. Yeah.
Well, how were the ribs, actually? Because I don't think we've talked about how were the ribs?
No, we haven't. Girl, because life been life.
I know.
The ribs were really good, actually. I really like the sauce.
Okay.
Because Mama was like, I need to know, is the sauce really the truth? I was like, it's good. Yeah, she needed to know if it's the truth.
But did she get any of the ribs that I made for you?
No, honey. I told her, I said, look, I talked to her right before this live. I said, Mama, I had ribs yesterday. I had ribs today. I said, but I cooked some chicken, so I don't even know why I'm eating them.
You want me to tell you why?
Why?
All the love that I put into those ribs. That's the reason you're eating them. You know, it's like when Mama cooks something, it's like you cook the same thing. And you do it the exact same way. But when Mama does it, it just has love in it. And you just can't help but eat all of it. And that's all it is. It's the love that I put into those ribs. That's the reason why you're going to keep eating those.
Yes, and I appreciate it. Like, thank you. Because, again, you was voluntold, but it's okay. I'm sure you've returned the favor.
Oh, well, I'm going to make sure I return the favor because you're right. You voluntold me that I was cooking you ribs. And I'm like, what ribs are you talking about? But it's okay. It's all good. I should have known that I was cooking you ribs. Remember, you have to tell me that months in advance, because I don't like last minute.
It wasn't last minute. Don't do that to the people. Don't do that. Don't make it seem like I just told you the day of to bring them ribs.
No, you didn't tell me the day of or the day before. You did give me
the weekend.
About 5 days.
Yeah.
Well, no, let's be honest. The weekend, as you said, you gave me weekend notice. And I had like 3 days notice that I need to get your ribs together. And I'm like, what ribs it is, honey?
The store was still open. You had time.
Yeah, go get your ribs, get them cooked so I can bring them home at Christmas so you'd have them for New Year's.
Yes.
Well, do me a favor. Please. You always do that. In July, tell me that you want ribs for New Year.
Okay.
And then in September, remind me.
Okay.
So I'll know what to do. Because, that way, you can have ribs for days.
That is true.
Yeah, because you'll get lots of ribs because I'll cook a whole lot of them and then you can eat them whenever you want to eat them.
That's true. I will definitely, make a mental note to remind you that, go ahead and start working on them ribs. So when I see you, you can just go ahead and pass them to me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Enough of the ribs, girl. Enough with the ribs.
Well, no, I was trying to be nice before I let you talk about what you really want to talk about.
Wait a minute. Before, let me sip this tea.
Well, I'm sipping tea too.
My tea ain't your tea.
Okay, well, my tea hot.
Mine cold.
Oh, God. Okay, get this stuff off your chest, Anjay, because I'm going to be quite honest with you. You trying to wear me down, but I am not taking on nobody's negativity in 2025. I'm letting you sip your cold tea because 2025 is the year of owning your destiny. If you're going to continue to let other people make you feel some kind of way, or
Yes.
you're the victim, or this,
Mhm,
that, this,
mhm,
and
mhm.
that. Please remember, so as a man thinketh in his heart, he is. Also, however you start the year is how you're going to finish the year. If you start the year with the mindset of a victor, you are victorious, then you will be victorious in everything that you um, put on your win board. I believe is what Elvira called it, that win
You
board.
win.
And you will be effective, and you will achieve your goals. But if you stuck in the quicksand and can't get out, what is it? Oh, you saw old commercial. I followed and I can't get up. It was before your time, but I followed and I can't get up.
It's a
You're gonna be following. You're
lifeline.
not gonna get up. So okay, get this off your chest, because I know this has been bothering you, because I've been hearing it all
All
day.
right. So I got two things. First of all, I want to send a shout out to Mr. Riley and you for such a wonderful, 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 and I can't express wonderful way to start 2025 off. Okay. I
Thank you.
mean, it's like the interview was amazing. I mean, in the comments, I was like, Lord, I felt like this was an episode of TAS OnJerya, because just the knowledge, the information that he was providing, chef kiss, okay?
Mhm.
Chef kiss, appreciate it. Need to hear it. Need to hear more of it. Because again, as he stated, we're caught up in distractions.
Mhm.
You know, we're
Yep.
caught up in the distractions, and that's what we need to not to be focusing on, especially in 2025. So that's the first little nugget. Now the second nugget is disclaimer, trigger warning.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've seen it, heard about it. It was this church, if no mistake, I believe, in Virginia, and this
Mhm.
one hits close to me. Uh, Basically, a little girl, a teenager, is pregnant, and she had to go before the church and ask for forgiveness. And so, as you know, in good old social media fashion, everything's recorded.
Mhm.
And so, of course, people are just like at odds about, why did she have to do that? Why did the pastor have to speak on it? Blase, blase. So, I'm going to let you take the lead on this because, as I stated, this hits real home, real close to home with me. But thinking about the generational gap, right? Knowing that this is a teenage pregnancy,
Mhm.
right or wrong, you're involved in the church. Should you
Mhm.
have to go before the church and ask for forgiveness?
Well, many things run through my brain, and I'm just gonna let it all flow. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Whatever is that from some is that Disney movie? Let it flow.
Let it,
No,
let
that's
it go.
that's let.
You thinking about Tony
Oh
Braxton?
yeah, thank you. That's Tony Braxton. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I can kind of hear a little baby face with that in my head. Yeah, let it flow. Oh, was that on Waiting to
It
Exhale?
was.
Oh yeah. Well, it's time to exhale. I did not know about this, guys. It's the first time I'm hearing this. So basically, we've got a 12-year-old who's pregnant, who's brought before the church to ask
I
forgiveness, right?
don't know how old. I don't know. She's a
She's
teenager. I
a
don't know if the
teenager.
age is ever disclosed, but she's a
Okay.
teenager.
So she's a teen.
Right.
Excuse me. My tea is working. Um, well, first of all, I do realize this is a trigger for you. My first thing is, and this is unscripted, guys, who can forgive her in the church?
Right.
Because this is unscripted. So that's my first thing. Who has the authority in the church to forgive her? So am I supposed to go to the church every time I sin? Because I sin every day because we're human. So I go to the church, the building, the people to ask them to forgive me of my sin? are they coming to me every day asking me to forgive them of their sin? You know, I have this thing about religion and spirituality. I am not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. Because growing up in the church, the Bible and the teachings were my lifeline as far as how I dealt with the trauma. But as I matured, and because I used it to deal with my trauma, I was also very observant of the people. And I could see the contradiction then. I just didn't know that's what I was seeing. And so, to me, what I just spelled out was a contradiction. Because you want somebody to come before the church and ask for forgiveness. People are sinning every day in the church. And um I'm not talking the scandals that we hear about. I'm not talking about that type of sin. We sin every day as human beings. But are we are we then being brought before the church? Now someone can say, well, Teresa, there's a big difference between me cutting someone off on the interstate and this young lady being pregnant. Sin is sin. I didn't know there was a big sin and little sin. Now we might want to talk big sin and little sin, but sin is sin. Also, that's how I feel from that perspective, because I don't like religion, and I think if it's good for the geese, it's good for the gander. Right. So before we start bringing people up to ask for forgiveness, everybody need to come up, because even without sin, cast the first stone. But we're going to put that part to the side. Now, as a learned person, the question becomes to me, how did this person find themselves in circumstances where they were pregnant as a teen? And what contributed to that? And how do we support that child who's about to have a child? And having them to come before the church is not supporting them. Because I look at that many different ways. You've seen the first way I looked at it. But it's also a form of humiliation.
Yeah.
It's like the letter A.
Yeah, the scarlet letter.
Thank you. The scarlet letter. Why are we doing that at this time? Because that was 1800, 1700, 1500, whenever the scarlet letter time was. Why are we doing that? Instead of rallying around this young person to try to figure out what has transpired that led them to that place, how can we now support them? What resources need to be brought to bear? How are they feeling? Are they happy that they're having a child? Are they disappointed in themselves? Are they wanting to keep their child? Are they wanting to put it up for adoption? All these different things may be running through that child's mind, but instead of coming in and getting them some help and support,
right,
we are shaming, what is it, shame the whatever and whatever the devil. Hi, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. It's like, that's a problem for me. Because I would like to believe that I can go to the church and get help. But then I guess it's about how do you characterize help? How do you quantify that? What does that mean? Because with something like that happening, I'm not going to want to go to the church for assistance.
Right.
So now, that's how I feel in the big picture. What are your thoughts about this?
Ooh, as again, disclaimer, someone who has gone through this situation, one, I guess you can kind of consider me as, being a teen mother, because, I had my oldest when I was, like 19. So yeah, I guess I still was teenage age. At that time, I'm not going to say it wasn't an issue, but it didn't become an issue for me until I had child number 2. Now, when I had child number 2, of course, I was, like late 20s? Yeah, like late 20s. And the situation that I encountered was I was very active in the church. Very active. Like every program, every ministry, you name it. I was there supporting the church.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But what happened is that because I was a leader, I was one of the leaders, one of the presidents,
I'm
however you want to
sorry.
call it.
I just had a thought.
I'm sure
Okay.
you did on the committee, over several committees, not just one,
Mm-hmm.
but several committees, was doing the Lord's work, not man's work, doing the Lord's work.
Okay.
And one Sunday evening after
Well,
church, I got pulled into the office.
no.
Now, let me go ahead and put this disclaimer out here. Now,
Yes.
when those hear this
Well,
on them little reels
come on.
and those cuts and the YouTube,
Yes, yes.
if you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
Because you heard it from the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I got pulled into the pastor's office
Well. Mm-hmm.
with the first lady, the wife,
Oh, she was there
pastor
too?
wife.
What?
Oh,
She was there?
yeah.
Oh, I never knew that she was there. See, I'm learning this. That's that little
Yeah.
kid that I never had heard. Okay, so she was there too. Okay.
Oh, yes, yes. So I'm not going to drop no names because they still there
Well, bless you.
as I sip my tea. Therefore, those who know. Okay. I got pulled into the office, like the principal's office, like I was in trouble, Annie.
Mm-hmm.
And what was told to me is that it had been weighing on them.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
Holy
Jesus.
Spirit spoke to them and said that I needed to come before the church and
So peace be
ask for
still, mama.
forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me repeat that. Now here it is. I'm actively involved. A
Well,
lot of different ministry. Church is flourishing. We going on
yes,
trips. We doing all types of
yes,
things that the church hasn't done probably since your age,
yeah, since I was
Trinity's
young.
age, Alexa's age,
Yeah.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
70s, early 80s.
Well,
But we're flourishing.
come on.
The people needs are being
Well,
met. Because again, we talking about the difference between spirituality and religion.
come on.
So I'm in the office. He lets me know it's been laying on his heart. Holy Spirit said I need to go before the church and ask for forgiveness. Now, for those that know me in my real life, know the
Yeah.
Scorpio was Scorpioing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Scorpio was Scorpioing. So I was like, oh, not me shut up in this little small office.
Well,
So I proceed to open the door and I go get mama.
well,
Because you know, as we all know, when anything go wrong, who you can call on?
mama.
I go get mama.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, mama, this man, because at that point, he was this man. He was
Yes,
not my
yes.
pastor.
Well,
This man
mm-hmm.
is telling me that I need to come before the church and ask for forgiveness. Now, for those of you that know mama,
Mm-hmm.
know mama real dramatic.
Oh, please. She put
She
the
real,
D and the R in dramatic. She could have won all them awards at the recent Golden Globe. Cause Mama is real dramatic.
real dramatic. So she's like, wait, what? I'm sorry. What? So we proceed to walk back into the office. She grabs another church member again. Those that were there remember. And we're in this little office.
Yes, yes,
She
yes.
closed the door.
Mm.
And he is sitting behind his desk, and I am standing in front of his
Well,
desk. My mama, the church member, and the pastor wife is to the left. Now, for those of you that know, right? For those of you that know, that office is real small.
yes.
So to have all the many people in there is a
Sardine.
tight situation. It's a tight situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, in Big Mama fashion, she wanted to know what was going on with her daughter.
Yes,
So
yes.
again, the pastor proceeds to, state, okay, again, Holy Spirit laid on her heart, she need to come before the church and ask for forgiveness. My mama's like, why? It's because she's had two children out of wedlock, And it doesn't look right that she's one of the leaders in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And she has
Mm-hmm.
had 2 children out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
So in good old Gloria fashion, yes, Gloria.
With Gloria.
Gloria said, if my child got to go before the church and ask for forgiveness, family, don't get me. I love y'all. If my child got to go before the church and ask for forgiveness, you gonna need to go up there to that nursing home and start with grandma. Now she called grandma's name, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And get her out that bed. And then you need to go and she would call them name by name. See what God has done. Count your many blessings.
Yes, yes.
Because she was letting him know that there were people before me
mm-hmm.
that needed to come before the church and ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, in true Scorpio fashion, because again, those that know me in my real life,
mm-hmm.
I began to cry. Now, some people gonna say, "Oh, she was scared." No, baby, I was not scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared for him more so than me. Because
mm-hmm.
as we all know, when you have done all that you can and you're very genuine about helping people, but you reach that breaking point and them tears is basically that rage that you're crying out because
Mm-hmm.
all you know is that you see red and somebody about to get hurt. I did let him know that these tears that you see falling are not for me, but they for you. Because otherwise, I would flip you out that window.
Yeah.
So that's why I say this whole scenario, it hits home for me.
Mm-hmm.
It is very triggering because I do understand that back in the olden days.
You mean with the Scarlet Letter?
Nope. Back in the olden days, maybe like when, our parents' generation, grandparents' generation, that was what took place in the church.
Oh, okay.
That's what I have been told by our mother as well as other people. Because she even stated she can remember there being, someone that had got pregnant out of wedlock, had to go before church, ask for forgiveness. So to make it all make sense, why are you judging me? That's what I want to know. Why are you judging me? And in this particular situation with this individual, I was not their problem. They were the problem. And the reason why they were the problem, again, church family, don't get me, I love you. They were dealing with their own stuff, they were not dealing with their own stuff. That's the problem. Because, see, they had a child that had a child out of wedlock. And they dropped out of school, and we heard about it every Sunday. And if it wasn't every Sunday, it was every other Sunday. And they talked about it, and they talked about it, and they talked about it. So again, when people approach you with, it's been laying on my heart. God spoke to me. Is it really God speaking, or is it man speaking? And you want to use God as a tool to tell me about myself, because you're the one that really got a problem. Because God didn't come and talk to me. He didn't come and sit down and say, "OnJerya, now you know you was wrong for having them kids out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to go up there to them church folks and you're going to have to ask them to forgive you." He didn't tell me that. I missed that memo. I didn't see them the rainbows and the unicorns. I didn't see that. He didn't send that message to me. So for him to have, quote unquote, sent that message to somebody else who ironically had a similar situation, it calls things into question. So no, I agree with everything that you said. First of all, this was a child. And that is one thing that we have an issue with, is protecting our children. Because as a mother, and I don't even like
You
that
don't like that
phrase. I don't
phrase
like
as a
that phrase.
mother. You don't like it.
But as a mother, why were you not in tune with your child? Okay? Because again, whether your child was sexually active, again, we don't know the backstory. We don't know if the child was sexually active. We don't know if the conception was because of rape we don't know. And honestly, it don't really matter. It don't matter. It's the fact that you have allowed other people to dictate how to raise your child, what to do with your child, and then humiliate them by because I saw the video. I'll share it with you. And you could hear that that little girl was like, please forgive me. I didn't mean it. I know.
I go back to what Mr. Riley, Karan Joseph Riley, guys. He it's a private joke that I be calling him Mr. Riley. But it goes back to what Karan was saying, and I'm trying to use his language, and I'm going to butcher it, but I like his language. There's understanding.
Right.
And that's very surface, and I agree with him. That's surface. Like we understand that 1 + 1 is 2, but as you have told me before, as a mathematician, because your first degree is in computer science and math, it isn't really 2. The way
Right.
that we look at it, but that's how we see it. There's that level of understanding. I just had a thought. We'll be talking Bloom's taxonomy, but another way of saying it. For those educators, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk Bloom's taxonomy. But I think Karan talks about that in a standing, and then there's that other standing, and there's that other standing. We did not permit her an opportunity for inner standing. But now I'm going to back it up to the church and its universe, because it is a universe. We don't think of it that way, but it's a universe. It's a community. Did we get inner standing? And it sounds like we didn't. So I'm going to now flip it to your situation. There was no inner standing, meaning the inside of me, my inner being understands, inner standing as it related to you. Because, as it relates to the parties that you're talking about, really, we had some counselors on, I don't know if they're still on, but it really was more like there was perhaps some projection taking place with the minister or the pastor of the church, because he was living or reliving perhaps the emotions that he had not come to terms with as it related to his own child, and perhaps were projecting them on you. So that understanding is so important, because again, so as we think in his heart, it radiates out. And hearing you talk about that, because I've heard you talk about, but sometimes I guess I miss some pieces there. My mind is in a different space right now. So the pastor's wife was there, and I'm trying to clean this up. What gives you the right to invite somebody else's child in for chastising? And I'm going to say it that way.
Right.
So call them on the carpet, call them out. What's the word that y'all use now, Anjina? I'm not up on these slangs words. What would the word be? Because
that's it.
Because that really is inappropriate. So you got 2 adults going to gang up on a child. I don't like adult bullying because I've been the victim of adult bullying. I don't like that. But that's what that was. As you always say, they going to get you, Anjay. They going to get you. Because I call a spade what a spade is. Because that's inappropriate. Now, then some people would say, well, she was old enough to have a child. She said that she was probably she was probably in her 20s.
Yeah, I was in my 20s at that point.
Okay, that's nice. I would not, as a learned person, bring in a 20-year-old person who is at that church, whose parents are still there, and invite them in for a conversation like that. I would not. I would not. Because first of all, you're treating me, how can I say this nice? Because I'm thinking about this as I'm processing, as I'm speaking it. On one hand, you want to Oh, Jesus, help me somebody. Help me somebody, Uncle Jeff Rowe would say. Help me somebody. Help me somebody.
Just a roll.
Jesse Rowe,
Just a
help me somebody.
roll.
On one hand, you want to treat me like an adult because you're going to bring me in because you would say to me, well, she was 20-something, so she's an adult.
Right.
But you're going to chastise me like I'm a child because I am an adult. You don't tell me that I need to go and do anything.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Help me somebody. Because it's like, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth at the same time. Because what you're asking, what you're telling me that I need to do, what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a grown woman.
Okay.
I pay my own bills. My parents are not paying my bills. I'm raising my own children. I'm not asking you for anything. Nope. So you want me as a grown woman to come before the church because you feel some kind of way.
Right.
But you're going to have a conversation with me, though, as if I was a child. You see, you can't have it both ways because you can do that with a child, but I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. Now, I'm not telling you to do it. I don't recommend that because even if you had been a teenager, that conversation, there should have been a conversation had with your parents if they thought it was a problem. Right. Even if you were a leader at that age, there should have been a conversation had with the parents. And then if they wanted to talk with you, everybody should have been at the table. Now, I understand he had his wife in there to make sure that nobody thought it was any improprieties. But you're going to bring me in, and it's just going to be me, you, and her.
Right. So it's like, who was there to protect me? Right.
Nobody. Like I said, I don't like that. I've been there. I've done that. I've been there, and I've done that. And that is, oh, Jesus, help me somebody, Uncle Jeffrey. Help me somebody.
Yes,
help me somebody.
Yes, sir.
What did Jack Nicholson say in Witches of Eastwick? It's a cheap trick. I taught it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the movie, Witches of Eastwood. Is it Eastwood? Witches of Eastwood? Jack Nicholson. Chair. I think Michelle Pfeiffer might be in it, and I can't remember the other lady. It's a cheap trick. He taught it to them. It's like a cheap shot.
Right.
Why would you do that? There's nothing good gonna come of that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to believe that the person that I call my father, that sits high and looks low, who holds the world in his hand, he's Alpha and Omega. I would like to think that when he's in something, there's always going to be something positive that comes out of it. Now, it may not look positive at the time, but there's going to be something positive that comes from that. And with the way that was set up, nothing positive came from it because we know the story. You want to give them the 2-sentence story as to what happened as a result of that they may not even see the connection now? But
long story short, I walked away.
You walked away, and then what happened?
I walked away. And as a result of me walking away, basically the church has crumbled. It's crumbled. They haven't been on another trip. They haven't had any growth.
Sustained growth.
They just remain stagnant. And unfortunately, the people are dying off. Literally and figuratively.
Mm-hmm. And the thing with that is this, guys. There's a lot of things that run through my mind. Ooh, Jesus. The mind is a dangerous thing. There used to be a commercial about that. I think that had been an army or military thing, but the mind is a dangerous thing to waste. But there are a lot of things that run through my mind. I cannot, or I can, but I don't recommend. We're going to get some understanding. I might not want to verbalize everything that runs through my mind, because we have to determine what's going to be the consequences of that. Because lots of times we only see consequences from our perspective, so we think it's going to be positive, but that's not usually the way it is.
No.
It's not the way it is. And I think as we continue to go forth in 2025, it is going to be imperative that people do some work, some self work,
Yes.
and take accountability for their actions. And you see, that's the problem. Nobody wants to take, I shouldn't say nobody, that's just very blanket. Oh, I want to go back to something that I think I want to go back to it. But, here's the thing, most times people don't want to take accountability for their action. It's things that are happening to them versus
Right.
what's happening for them. But these things that are happening to you, most times, not all the time, sometimes you have a little bit of a hand in it. It may be your response to someone, because I believe that karma is real.
Oh,
It may be your response to something. It may be how you treated somebody that you didn't think anything of. But remember, he says, "What you do to to my little ones, you've done it to me." So that means that comes back on you. You may never even realize what's happening, but you cannot keep crapping on people in your nice little way and think that you're going to always reign supreme. It may not visit you. It may visit your grandchild,
absolutely.
but it's going to visit you because it has the balance. There has to be a balance in life. Like there's a balance in nature. There has to be a balance. So at some point, that scale is going to tip. And the funny thing that I thought about that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because I said if we were not live. It's amazing how things have shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And you want somebody to go before the church because they pregnant, or they have a child out of wedlock, or they get a divorce. I'm just throwing that in there, guys. But it's amazing now how the blanket has been pulled off of all the sin. Hi, Simon Carley, 181. Thank you for joining. It's amazing how the blanket has been pulled off of all the sin that's in the church that has always been there, but yet and still, we some people act like that's not even existing. And then when we look at other parts of our society, people can do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're not being told that they got to go before nobody and apologize.
No.
But yet and still, you want to hold me in bondage by having me to come before a church and explain myself. You got some explaining to do. Yeah, I know. Everybody got some explaining to do. Is everybody going to get up and explain what they did last night? Because we know some of them people had a good time on Saturday night.
Of course.
And they won't even with their mate or their partner or their whoever they married to. They won't even with them people. But they had a good time.
They did.
But they're sitting there Sunday morning doing whatever role they have in the church. Everyone knows they had a great time because some of them people with them when they was having a great time.
Of course.
That's acceptable. But you want to beat down, because that's really what we do, guys. We beat down someone's potential.
Yeah.
We think they do. And for a lot of people, they are beaten down and then they're downtrodden and they don't rise up. And to me, that's not what church is supposed to be about.
No.
Because basically you shackle me. What is it, Mary? Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance or whatever?
So I can dance.
I put your song. But you're putting the shackles on me. Here I am. I'm doing good work in the church. The church is growing. Everything is flourishing. And you put shackles on me. And the rest is history. So, no, thank you. Yeah, thank you for bringing this up, NJ. I had not seen anything because you keep me abreast of what's going on in the world. Because I don't see nothing. I don't know nothing. But send me that because I'll be interested to see that young lady's demeanor. And she's basically begging them for forgiveness.
And the sad thing is that not only is she up there begging for forgiveness, then you got the pastor talking about, okay, so there's going to be no gender reveal. There's going to be no baby shower. Like, you're just laying it out like, this is like, basically, we're not supporting this. And the ways we're not going to support it is that we're not going to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. Again, are you the parent? or it's a child parent. And then the mother done came online, and she done made her statement. Oh, I stand by my pastor. And I don't like people like that. They don't have a brain, a mind of their own.
So that's the tell me why I didn't stand by your man.
Yes.
So basically everybody has thrown this child under the bus. But you see, and we don't have time to get into this tonight. We'll get into it sometime this year, I'm sure. Who owns my life? See, you basically telling me, First Wives Club, you don't own me. Y'all better go check it out. I think they've done a remake of it, but I'm talking Bette Midler, Diane Keaton, and Goldie Hawn. You don't own me. Because basically the church has taken, oh, Jesus, I'm going to have to get off of here. Help me, Uncle Jeff Rowe. Ooh, he's dead, guys. That's my great uncle. He's dead. He's been dead for quite some time now. But help me somebody. That was his saying. Help me somebody. Because you're basically telling me the church has taken ownership of her body. Think about what we're saying, guys. Think about what you're hearing. Because you're telling me there's going to be no gender reveal. There's not going to be a baby shower. They taking ownership of my life, and when you take ownership of my life, you take ownership of my body. So you basically are saying that I'm enslaved.
That's it.
Well, OnJerya,
I know. When I saw it, like I said, it was very triggering because I've been there. No, I was not that age, but it doesn't matter. To have someone, what they say, the cloth of the faith, however you want to put it, to pull you to the side and basically humiliate you. And you don't even realize, for her, she didn't realize that she was being humiliated. For me, I was like, you were trying to test the waters. Because, see, you thought I was like everybody else.
Well,
and you see that didn't get you nowhere. And now when you see me, can you come? No. Will you? No. Well, what about I'm not? Can you? Don't ask. Don't ask. Because, see, when I was there doing the work, ooh.
Well, let me say that while
I'm on my pilgrim journey.
What is it? While I'm on my pilgrim journey, something. Help me to something.
Oh, Lord, what is it? Oh, I can't think of it right now.
I can't get that point. But let me tell you what I thought about. I got that wacky sense of humor, guys. You just don't really realize it.
Walk with me. Walk with me, Lord.
Yeah, walk with me, Lord, while I'm on my pilgrim's journey. And that's going to tie right into what I thought about. And I'm not a Bible quoting person, but I love the Bible. But let me tell you what I thought about. They were leaving. Lot and his family were leaving, wherever they were leaving. I can't think of the name of the place right now. But they were leaving. And they were told not to look back. And Lot's wife, oh, Jesus, you're just so good to me, Lord. Just be dropping these nuggets. And Lot's wife looked back and she turned to a pillar of salt, I think is what the Bible says. So when you are saying all these things that the person was asking you, could you do this? Could you do that? Well, you asked me to go. Because you basically gave me an ultimatum. And you asked me to go. I cannot look back. So the answer is always going to be no to whatever. Because you asked me to go. Now, what he just dropped on me, guys, was this. Sometimes people don't understand. And now, let me go back to Mr. Riley, check that interview out. Now, he said, because I had asked a question about relationships, and just because I was really talking about somebody specifically. And, I've had people that complain.
Yeah.
And they won't move from where they're complaining, but they want you to keep hearing them complain year after year about whatever. So they do this like 15, 20, 30, 40 years. But what he just, and we talked about the fact that you got to do that inner standing, and you make sure that you basically exhausted all of the possibilities. Make sure you've taken ownership of what you may have been doing wrong, because it's always your fault when it wasn't your fault, because we do contribute. And when you can get that in your mind, like I said to him, that's very liberating. Got to go back and listen to that, guys. But let me tell you what he just dropped on me, OnJerya. Let me see if I can make this make sense as we leave tonight. Once you do all of what we were just saying, Ron and I were saying, and then the children of Israel, they wanted to go back after we crossed the Red Sea, and he done closed it up. You can't go back, because what he dropped on me with Lot's wife was this. She looked back. They were fleeing. Work with me, guys. They were fleeing to safety. Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was being destroyed because God, he sent the angels trying to see if there was anyone there that was religious, or whatever the terminology they would have used, that was whatever they were looking for. And they couldn't find anyone except Lot's family. So the angels let Lot know that they're going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot's family is to flee, but don't look back.
Don't look back.
Don't look back. They're fleeing. Lot's wife looks back. She becomes a pillar of salt. So what are you trying to say, Dr. TAS, without preaching tonight? What he dropped on me was this. When you've done all that you can do, and you have exhausted, and you know that you have exhausted all that you must exhaust in order to make a decision, regardless of what that decision is, whether it's personal, interpersonal, whether it's romantic relationships, that could be your marriages, whatever, whether it's family relationships, whether it's jobs, whether it's organizations, whatever, community stuff, whatever. When you have done all that you can do,
I hate that.
Besides standing, there's a song. But when you've done all that you can do, don't go back.
Let it
because
go.
We see in the Bible what happened to Lot's wife. She was destroyed. And we wonder sometimes, well, why is this happening to me? Well, you went back, baby. He brought you out of bondage, whatever your bondage is. He parted the Red Sea. You walked across. He took you to the promised land. Yeah, the promised land is never what we think it's going to be, because we didn't have to make it our promised land. And that starts inside of us. Remember, so as a man thinketh in his heart, that's what he then radiates out into the world. So it's not like God has forsaken you, or whatever power you believe in. You haven't been forsaken. He done brought you to a good place. Now you have to, if Daddy was here, he would say, now you got to talk, you got to do your soil and plant your seeds and water and all that good stuff. You got to nurture that area. That's on you. That's not on anybody else. So when you go back and things don't work out the way you want it, we have a perfect example, Lot's wife. Because I never thought about it until tonight. You have a great example, Lot's wife. We see what happened to her. She was destroyed. She was destroyed. Well, Dr. TAS, that's all I know. I understand. Well, you got to make a decision, baby. Do you want to be destroyed, or do you want to be free? That's on you. I can't make that decision for you. We were never told that life was going to be easy. We're going to have to make some tough decisions. I have to make them. I don't always do it just gleefully, but I have to look at the bigger picture. And that takes self-knowledge, is what Quran was saying. That self-knowledge. You must always be seeking knowledge, because your universe, that's your community, that's you, your universe needs knowledge in order to thrive. So if you're wondering why you can't get off, this is a colloquial phrase, why you can't get off the pot and piss, or are you getting any new knowledge? Or are you just sitting on the pot?
Swinging your legs, girl. Swinging. Legs just dangling.
With them legs just dangling? You can't live your life that way. No. And we see with Lot, and then we see with what you're saying, OnJerya, when it came back around, oh, come on here, somebody. Uncle Jeffrey, you better help me, somebody. When it came back around, the expectation was that you would take it. Oh, come on now. Come on, Jesus. Every day. His name is the same. The expectation was that you would bite. But baby, that train has left the station. And you did it to yourself. So you can't blame nobody else. That when you finally get your act together. Now I'm talking about lots of things now, guys. We had many examples here. But when you finally get your act together, you think the people sitting there waiting on you.
No.
You think the job waiting on you.
No,
baby. They moved on. They had to. Do you think they're going to let their universe crumble because you don't know how to operate in your universe?
No.
Ooh, that accountability is something, ain't it, in 2025?
It is. It is. And it's very important. And I know as we come to a close that 2025 is a new year. I know we were 7 days in to the new year. If you have not already started implementing some for real changes, we're not talking about no new year resolution. I don't even know why they talk about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about actually doing the work, going on the journey, learning the lessons, so that when Mercury retrograde come around, you don't be like, oh my God, it's really lifing right now. Life is lifing. Yeah, because you didn't learn the lesson. And so now what has happened is everything that you should have learned is coming at you and you can't handle it. So be accountable. Own your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Own your stuff and stop judging people. I know there's that challenge. We listen and we don't judge, but we do judge. And we shouldn't. Because that's the reason why a lot of people suffer in silence.
Yes.
Because they know that when they talk to people about what they truly going through, you're going to sit there and you're going to judge them. So instead of dealing with that on top of what they already dealing with, they choose to check out. And check out can mean multiple things to different people. Yep. So mental health is very important. Again, I don't agree with what happened. I just will keep them lifted up in my prayers because again, they're going to need it. They're going to need it because the mother's brainwashed. You're now channeling that energy onto the child who's having to endure it. And then you're also channeling that same energy to the unborn child.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people really think about that. So, you know, again, keep your opinions to yourself. Nobody asked you. And if they did ask you, as Mama would say, they really don't want to know because they can't handle it. They can't handle it.
You know, I wanted to say Jack Nicholson said you can't handle the truth now.
Can't handle the truth.
Can't handle the truth. No. So, but you're right. The energy is real. Yeah. And that unborn child is feeling this energy. And trauma is trauma. Yeah. So that means that child is being traumatized and they haven't even been born yet. Yeah. You know, that is very, very unfortunate. Thank you for sharing that with us tonight, Anjay, because you didn't mention it to me, so I didn't even know this was going on. And like you said, all we can do is keep the family. We'll keep that child lifted up, the young girl, and that baby lifted up. And then instead of just listening for entertainment purposes, think about what you're actually hearing. Because they, as I said, they have taken possession. They've taken ownership of her body, her life. Think about what I'm saying. They have taken it. And do we have the right to take ownership of someone's life? Because the reason that's so important, because we say, oh, well, that's just one isolated occasion. Once things start to move in that direction, it spreads. Yeah. So it's very important that we pay attention to what's happening. Very, very, very important that we pay attention to what's going on. Because it's not just for entertainment purposes when we see things on social media, or we hear about it in the news. We need to listen. And we need to understand. And then, of course, as Clarama say, understand and then other stand. Right. And then understand and then other stand. Because this is happening in our universe. We need to pay attention to it. So again, OnJerya, always great having conversations with you. You always have your finger on the pulse of what's happening. And I thank you for bringing it to our attention. And I thank everybody for joining us. And until next time, you know the drill. It's 2025. And it's time you start taking care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, honey, ain't nobody going to take care of you. If you haven't learned it by now, this is the year you better get a hold of it and learn it. But don't let it take all year for you to get it. Because we don't know how much time we each have. So learn it now so that you can live the best years of your life. Every day you live it to the fullest. So make sure you take care of you before you take care of someone else. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.